think you should.
Hello, welcome back to this week's episode of Whoscussion. We're going to be covering for part B this week. Again, we're going to be doing No More Lies with Lucy Bleedon Miller and the 8th Doctor, and finishing it off with a 3rd Doctor short trip. So with No More Lies, as Harry is Skellingham were discussing earlier today, it does feel like this is the second part of a two-parter, but not in a way where it's sort of you're lost. Because they do mention and talk about and reference the past adventure. Now, there isn't actually a previous adventure to this, at least not to my understanding. It is meant to be told from the perspective that something happened in the past and this is the outcome of said adventure. Lucy says that the Doctor likes to check out her boom in her Liverpudlian accent, and the Doctor is like, no, actually no, please shush.
Like, please don't say that again.
No, because like my last companion in the Big Finish said she loved me, and I told her I hated her face, so shut up.
Yeah, I actually hated her face.
So yeah, and so Lucy and the Doctor are trying to defeat the villainous Zimmerman, and the Doctor's like, don't have that time, technology. Don't you do the things? And Zimmerman's like, haha, I'm evil. And I love the sort of like bombastic, almost late 1950s sci-fi feel to Zimmerman as a villain. It's so great, so grandiose and over the top, but in a way where it doesn't come off as like cheap. Which Big Finish are quite good at that. I feel they really do handle the grandiose villains with a great deal of tact. Zimmerman as taking on the Doctor, but also there's these creatures. They're called the Tamadok, and the Tamadok are like a time-sensitive race that eat time potential. And they're like, hey Zimmerman, you've got the things. And Zimmerman's like, ha, I've got the things. And like the classic diabolical villain, he sets up to run away to be defeated in Act 3 of the film, if this was a cheesy 1950s sci-fi film. And the Doctor and Lucy, they chase after him, and the Doctor and Lucy end up landing in a time anomaly, and they find out that for Zimmerman 30 years have passed. And the Doctor's like, yeah, but this time anomaly, this has probably been here for millennia. So for the same night has been, same day rather, has played over and over again for thousands, potential thousands of years, but it's still the same day, so no time has actually passed. But echoes of all the time resets are in the minds of all the participants, very similar to the time that Romana 2 and the 4th Doctor were stuck in that time eddy in Miglos, where they figured out, hey, we're actually stuck in a time loop. And K9's like, affirmative, because he's K9. And the Doctor and Lucy are like, hey Zimmerman, you're evil. And Zimmerman's like, yeah, no, I haven't been evil for like 30 years, man. I'm real chill these days. And so Zimmerman's turned out to be this like chill ass guy that's just chilling out. And he's living with his wife, and he's like, I'm not evil anymore. I'm just a normal everyday person with everyday person problems. I'm so everyday, I even cheated on my wife. And then I apologized to her and she forgave me. See how normal I am? And the Doctor's like,
that was pretty great.
Yeah, he's like, I'm so normal now. And the Doctor's like, yeah, I suppose you are. But it turns out Zimmerman had actually used the remnants of his time technology to try and keep his wife around for an infinite amount of time on her last ever day. The Doctor's like, hey, look, the whole of reality is going to collapse if you don't let her die. So he lets her die, and it's kind of a sweet farewell. And she sort of sings him a lullaby until she passes away. It's quite nice. And the Doctor's like, I feel like kind of an asshole actually, but let's go. Oh, where's Lucy? Turns out the headhunter has finally caught up with Lucy after all the run-ins that they've had by not having run-ins. The headhunter's always missed Lucy. All that one time she turned up weeks early but was not in the coma the whole time.
Yeah, that's right.
And the Doctor's like, blast, I'm going to have to hunt Lucy down. And we've sort of left with our first cliffhanger, really. Our first proper cliffhanger. The Doctor's like, I'm going to go save Lucy. It's interesting because Lucy in this story and the Doctor in this story are like, are we even really friends?
Yeah.
So it's interesting to have the Doctor at the end. It doesn't sound like he's really alarmed. It's more that like it's a nuisance that she's been kidnapped.
No, they seem like they've become friends.
They've become friends now.
He does like have like this thing where he's just like, oh Lucy, you thought you could just like, oh, what was the thing? Oh, trouble's remembering now. It was like she couldn't she knew that he couldn't leave without her, so all that stuff.
Oh right, yeah, and he was being like, oh, that silly goose. And it turns out she's been full on time napped. What I do love about the device that the headhunter uses to time travel back to the time zone she's originally from sounds like the TARDIS dematerializing.
It does.
It's interesting that, eh? It's just, oh my god, no, shush. I hate you so much right now. Oh my god, I hate it. I hate it. It's the sound of the time vortex being torn apart, Moffat. It's the sound of the time vortex being torn apart. I just needed a reason for them to be able to land in the Oval Office without it being heard. There's so many other ways. But yeah, so that's the story in a nutshell. It feels like I was saying to Harry Scully earlier before we started recording, is that it sort of does feel like a short trip, as in it's more of a day in the life sort of setup. It reminds me a little bit of that one where the Seventh Doctor manipulates that guy into having a life instead of being an evil dictator. But in this in this story in particular, the evil dictator has the epiphany himself. He's like, hey, what if I just wasn't evil anymore and had an awesome wife? I'm gonna do that instead. What are your thoughts on No More Lies, Harriet Scully, before we wrap this up and move into our last story?
That's pretty much me, really. And like it's a really fluid story, honestly. Like it flows on to each part perfectly. Has no real qualms about anything, really. Does pretty well for itself. I've got no issues. I like it. Watch it. Do it. Print it. Let's go.
Let's go.
Move on to the next one.
Yeah, we'll move on to the next one because again, it does feel like a short trip, but in no way in a negative way. Again, the Lucy Miller series. Each story you can pick up for about $3 American. And making it a pound and what was it, 50p?
I don't know.
Sorry guys, your currency it confuses me. I'm so sorry. But you can pick it up for relatively cheap is what I'm saying each story. I like No More Lies. I think so far it's been my favorite Lucy Miller story. And with that out of the way, guys, Harriet Scully's going to take us away to the planet Neptune. To the planet. Well, at least that's what we find out it is later. Anyway, initially it looks like we're on a planet full of like crazy. What's the word? Crazy intelligent, super. Not really intelligent. I guess the crazy artsy. Well, I guess they are kind of intelligent. They do have like some crazy science stuff going on. But yeah, the metaphor. Basically, the third Doctor and Sarah Jane Smith all go off to a strange planet. Doctor's not sure about at the start, and it's basically like meets up with all of these aliens there who have a crazy art thing going on. Basically, they're really into art. They do a bunch of crazy stuff. They've got like 12 eyes, can see in a multitude of different capacities of light, have real crazy art things going on, but are also apparently under attack by some other. We find out later that they are under attack by some other people, and that the Doctor is basically going to try and help them out by helping them fix their anti-missile defense system. And once he fixes this up and stops their bombs from coming in, the aliens that are trying to destroy them come in to have some peace talks, finally realizing that they can't really hurt them anymore. But that's when the Doctor realizes that whoever's coming down has a TARDIS of their own. Seems to be a time echo of his TARDIS of some kind. So he tells Sarah Jane, hey, we need to go. And Sarah Jane's like, I'm really not keen on this, Doctor. We're supposed to help these people. And the Doctor basically explains to her, well, it's probably my TARDIS coming down, so it's probably just us from the future. Yeah. So just, let's go. Yeah, let's get out of here and let us from the future deal with it. Yeah.
it's pretty great. So yeah, that's pretty much the story. Actually, it's nice short trip. There's a whole lot of other interesting things, of course, obviously, that I don't want to spoil for you. In regards to the alien species themselves, they have some interesting things going on.
Yeah, and especially like Sarah's POV, I think it's quite good. It's something that you need to witness. I don't want to ruin it either, actually.
Absolutely. So, go ahead and listen to it right now. Do it.
Yeah, I'm with Harry. I'm with Harry Kelly on this one. Go ahead and do it. Unfortunately, there are some things I'd like to talk about, but that would spoil some of the sort of intriguing elements of the story. I quite like the conversations that they have.
Pause it. Go listen to it. Pause this. Go listen.
Pause this and go listen to it. Pick it up.
Come back. All right. Now we know. So, what would you want to talk about?
What I wanted to talk about is Sarah Jane's POV. I think especially when she sees the loss of life on the massive scale and how it affects her within the story. I like the reveal at the end where it's 4 turns up. Sarah, what were we supposed to do before I died? Go back to that planet. Oh, that's right. Let's go. Harry, I need you to deliver this iPad. He's like, oh, what's an iPad, Doctor? Ha ha! I'm Tom Baker. Which is great because like he was John Pertwee when the story started. It's fantastic. And also the dynamic between the politicians and the peoples. I like the interaction between I suppose their version of the journalist and what they called the rumor peddler, eh? Something like that. It's quite interesting. Hey, you're basically making stuff up, right? But make it awesome. I don't know. The story again. There's a lot more to it. And if you did pause and go and pick it up, well done. Yeah. I thoroughly suggest this. It's a good story, and I quite like that it's a short trip that has another doctor off screen appearing to help out everybody because Sarah and the doctor are like, oh, that's right, we were supposed to help these people. It's funny that they don't do it for ages. Like the doctor fully is dead and comes back to life by the time they come back. Like that's great. That's fantastic. Well, with that out of the way, guys, that's us for this week. We'll catch you next week.
Yes, indeed.
Really looking forward to Dragonfire. Bye.